now, for the first time, is Alan Craig, former Member of Parliament of the United Kingdom.
Former councillor.
Former councillor of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And someone who has been very active in the United Kingdom about the whole Islamist culture, Islamization, multiculturalism in Great Britain. You're head of the Mega Mosque No Thanks campaign. What is that?
That's right. Well, I live in the East End of London. In fact, I live about a mile from the main Olympic Stadium. You know, we have the Olympics coming to London in just a couple of months' time, and I live about a mile from that. We also live about a mile from a plot of land, about 18 acres there, where for some years now a very secretive South Asian Islamist organisation called Tablighi Jamaat, which you won't have heard of, but it's the most successful Islamic missionary organisation in the globe. And they plan to build a global headquarters there. That's what they plan to do. And originally their plans were to have a 40,000 capacity mosque. They've downsized a bit, but they still plan to have a very large mosque there. And I've been leading the local campaign to try and stop this. I hasten to say, and it's really important to say this, I'm not against Muslims and I'm not against mosques. Freedom of democracy, freedom of religion and so on.
No, it's a fundamental tenet of the United Kingdom,
yeah, absolutely. So, but this particular mosque and this particular group behind it, which is a very fundamentalist, secretive one.
We see the website now, the Mega Mosque No Thanks website.
That's
okay, so if you're not against Islam per se, but you're against this mosque. What's going to happen at this mosque that's going to be different?
Well, it's that they wanted to be a global headquarters. They've had their eyes on London as one of their targets for a long time. They've had 3 centres. One of the centres is South Asia, where they come from.
And South Asia is?
Well, it's India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. And another headquarters for them is Mecca in Saudi. And their third global headquarters, which they want, is London. They've had their eyes on London for a long time. And there are many very fundamentalist Muslims that say if London can go Islamic, then actually Europe will go Islamic as well. It's sort of bellwether.
So they honestly think that they're going to change Europe from being Catholic, Christian, Protestant Great Britain, and somehow everybody's going to convert to Islam?
No, but I think what they do think is they'll get sufficient weight, they'll have sufficient mass that they can begin to significantly impact the whole of society. There are signs of it already impacted.
For example?
It's already... let's take Sharia courts. Now, I'm working with a member of the...
Now, what is a Sharia court? We know the guys with the wigs in Great Britain, and that's the court system, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
What's a Sharia court?
A Sharia court is an Islamic court. It's purely for Muslims, an Islamic court, and it can be set up fairly informally at a mosque or a group of mosques. And their purpose is to promulgate Islamic law, known as Sharia law, to the Muslim community. And it is, in many ways, a parallel legal system within the United Kingdom. So we argue that in the United Kingdom there is one law for all people. It doesn't matter what your religion, what your background and so on. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, one law for all people. But Sharia law is a parallel system to this, and there are now 85 or more Sharia courts in Muslim communities up and down the United Kingdom. Which...
You mean you can choose, well, I'm going to go to a Sharia court for this parking ticket, or this, I've been accused of robbery, I choose to go to a Sharia court, not a British court?
You can do for certain things. Yeah, they tend not to deal with parking tickets and that sort of thing, but they will deal with divorce, they will deal with child custody, they will deal with domestic violence, breakup of families, they will deal with commercial disputes, they will deal with a whole range of things. Predominantly family matters, divorce and child custody and so on and so forth, and violence, breakup of families. They'll tend to deal with those sort of issues. At the moment, that's what they do. If you go to Islamic countries like Pakistan or Afghanistan, the Sharia courts will deal with everything. They will deal with parking tickets. They'll also deal with capital punishment issues. But not in the UK and not in Europe yet. So there's a growth of these, and our problem is that intrinsic to Islamic law, intrinsic to Sharia law, is discrimination against women. It's built in. For instance, if you wanted a divorce from your husband, if your husband wants a divorce from you, he can say the word "I divorce you," which in Arabic is talaq. He can say talaq 3 times, and then you are divorced, and that will be recognised by Sharia courts. If you're a woman and you want to divorce your husband, you have to go through a long and expensive legal process within Islamic courts in order to get your divorce. And there are these discrimination aspects built into Sharia law. And the reason why I'm helping a particular member of the British Parliament, Baroness Caroline Cox in the House of Lords, she has a bill going through the British Parliament, the purpose of which is trying to deal with and impact Sharia courts, and particularly that area where they discriminate against women, against Muslim women. And that is what we're trying to do.
So in other words, somebody is arrested for domestic violence. Some man's beaten up his husband. So the man can say, I don't want to be heard. I don't want to go to a British court system, the British legal system. I want to go to a Sharia court, and I'll live with whatever penalty I get. Then who enforces that penalty?
Well, what is more likely is in that sort of situation is that the husband and wife live within a Muslim community, and the family, if there's trouble between the husband and the wife, the family, the next door neighbours, the people around, the people in the local mosque, they'll say, you're not going to go elsewhere. This needs to be dealt with Islamically. So the thing to do is go to your local imam.
So the police don't get involved at all?
The police don't. They would keep the police out of it. They don't get involved. And you go to the local imam, and what normally would happen is he would tell the wife to go, not normally, what frequently happens, because we had the evidence, is the wife is told to go back and be a good wife to her husband. Sometimes they will organise anger management classes for the husband. But basically, the thing is inbuilt against the wife. It will cost her money if she goes to the local Sharia court. Now, one of the worrying factors is there have been, not a lot, but there have been signs whereby even the British police, the English police, will acknowledge the role of Sharia courts. There had been a case, for instance, in the Turkish Muslim community in North London, whereby there was violence between members of the Turkish community, and members of that and the police got involved. The members of that Turkish community, Muslim community, went to the police and said, we can deal with this within our own community. We have ways of applying sanctions, so we don't need police involvement. And actually, so we're told, that the police said, okay, you can deal with that within the community. And then within a Muslim community, they would apply Sharia law to the problem there. You know, there isn't a lot of that yet, but there are signs of that. And that is a new development whereby the British legal system and police is stepping back and saying, okay, deal with this according to Sharia.
And yet the British Prime Minister, Angela Merkel of Germany, the French President have all come out and said, you know, we've tried multiculturalism and it hasn't worked. So what is the answer?
What is the answer?
Yeah, what is the answer?
Well, the answer is we need to be rather more discriminating in what we're doing. I mean, our problem is we've for so long allowed what I call silo multiculturalism to grow up, whereby different communities do what they want to do according to their own culture and background without any intervention by the UK authorities. They do what they want to do, and we've allowed that to grow. It's almost become intrinsic now, and the difficulty will be to get inside those silos, those separate silos, and say, actually, there are British values which we value, and actually there are certain things which you do which are not acceptable. We want you now to integrate more within British society. Okay. That'll be quite difficult to do, but it's got to be done.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and explaining something I think most Americans have no idea exists, that there is this